Happy Halloween, ladies. Nuns. No sense of humor.
You ever seen an actor walk on screen who's just so big, so intense, so naturally intimidating that your first thought is, this guy is definitely about to ruin someone's day? Because Clancy Brown is exactly that kind of actor. He doesn't just play villains, he makes you believe they woke up that morning specifically to cause problems. And yet somehow he's also the voice of Mr. Krabs.
I feel so alive!
Because he's the man whose career is basically split between terrifying you, motivating you to do push-ups, and selling you Krabby Patties. What a legend. Clancy Brown was born in 1959 in Urbana, Ohio, into a surprisingly cultured and political family. His father was a newspaper publisher and even served as a congressman. His mother was a conductor and a composer. So basically he grew up with equal chances of becoming a journalist, a musician, or a supervillain. A sports injury nudged him off the path to becoming an athlete, and instead of joining the football team, he became one of the most recognizable voices in Hollywood. And I mean that voice.
I have something to say. It's better to burn out than to fade away.
It's like God decided to make Shakespearean stage actor with truck engine warming up in December. But despite the intimidating exterior, everyone in the industry says Clancy Brown is one of the nicest people you will ever meet. Which is always the funniest sentence to say about a guy who played the Kurgan. So let's start with the role that put him on the map. The Kurgan from Highlander. This is one of those once-in-a-generation villain performances, chaotic, funny, terrifying, unhinged, the cinematic equivalent of dropping a heavy metal album into a sword and fantasy movie. What makes the Kurgan memorable is that Clancy isn't just big and scary, he's enjoying himself. He's playing a guy who loves being evil the way kids love ice cream. And if you ever wondered why the fight scenes feel extra intense, here is a fun fact. Clancy Brown nearly died filming this movie. During one of the sword fights with Christopher Lambert, the safety harnesses malfunctioned and Brown was nearly impaled on a car. They fixed it, they kept going, and thankfully the only thing that got hurt was the car, but the Kurgan became iconic. Not just in the 80s villain sense, he's genuinely one of the great fantasy antagonists of the decade.
I am in disguise.
Another great villain turn from Clancy Brown is in Shoot to Kill from 1988, the survival thriller with Sidney Poitier and Tom Berenger. Brown plays the man they are trekking through the wilderness after he kidnaps Kirstie Alley's character. He's not on screen much, but his presence hangs over the entire film like a shadow. Every scene feels shaped by the threat of him. It's a terrific movie, and Clancy delivers a surprisingly memorable, quietly menacing villain role in it. Then we get to 1994, The Shawshank Redemption, and Clancy Brown gives us a villain who doesn't need spikes, swords, just a uniform. Captain Hadley is one of the most quietly intimidating villains in cinema. He's not cartoonish, he's not theatrical, he's not cracking jokes, he's the kind of real-world cruelty that makes you shift in your seat. What's brilliant is how Clancy underplays him. It's all posture, silence, and the occasional outburst that reminds you how dangerous this guy is. And here's the wild thing, in interviews he has said that he received bags of hate mail after Shawshank. People genuinely hated him, which ironically means that he did a really good job. Now, normally in a career overview, this would be the section where I would say, and then Clancy Brown played another villain, but not this time. In Starship Troopers, he plays Sergeant Zim, one of the most beloved drill instructors in sci-fi film history.
You think I'm funny? Do I make you laugh? Do you think I'm a comedian, son?
He's tough, he screams a lot, he throws knives at recruits, he probably smells like sweat and boot polish, and yet we kind of love him. It's the magic of Clancy Brown. He can yell at you for 10 minutes and somehow make you want to thank him afterward. In Blue Steel, Clancy Brown delivers a tense and grounded performance as Nick Mann, the detective partnered with Jamie Lee Curtis's rookie cop. It's not a villain role, but he brings steady, commanding presence that anchors the film's police procedural side. Brown plays Mann as tough but supportive, giving the story much-needed sense of stability as everything around Curtis's character spirals out of control. If you want peak, prestige-level villain acting from Clancy, look no further than HBO's Carnivàle. He plays brother Justin Crow, a preacher who slowly transforms into a full embodiment of evil. The show only lasted 2 seasons, but Brown's performance is still hailed as one of the most chilling in TV history. A decade later, he shows up in The Flash as General Wade Ailing. It's a smaller role, but classic Brown, Cold military authority, terrifying stare, absolutely no hesitation to ruin a superhero's afternoon. He has popped up in tons of projects where he isn't quite the villain, but still brings that heavyweight presence. In Cowboys and Aliens, Riker, gruff and dangerous. The Mortuary Collection, a mysterious, gothic narrator with deliciously creepy delivery.
I see what you did there.
Promising Young Woman, a rare, calm, heartfelt performance as Carey Mulligan's father.
The sauce is really good. Incredible.
Dexter New Blood, a tense supporting role. Billions, polished, dramatic acting with zero sword fights, unfortunately. And yes, he even showed up in The Mandalorian, because apparently everybody shows up in The Mandalorian at least once. Next up, from the Coen brothers, The Ballad of Buster Scruggs, Clancy Brown shows up in the Near Algodona segment, and even with just a few minutes of screen time, he absolutely nails that classic Western energy. He plays a no-nonsense, bossy leader with that quiet, authoritative presence he does so well, the perfect example of how Clancy enriches even the smallest moments. He also appears in John Wick Chapter 4, he brings something completely different. As the Harbinger, he's calm, polite and strangely philosophical, but with this underlying sense of danger that only Clancy Brown can deliver. He's not throwing punches or shooting guns, he's the guy who shows up to deliver the rules and the consequences, and somehow that feels even more intimidating. But if Clancy Brown had never appeared on screen, he would still be a legend for one simple reason: his voice. His voice acting career is massive, so let's hit the biggest ones. Mr. Krabs from SpongeBob and SquarePants, this might be the funniest part of his entire career. The man known for playing sadistic villains is also the cheerfully greedy owner of Krusty Krab.
It's not about the money. Holy sweet mother of pearl! I like the way you think, Blandy.
Kids who grew up watching SpongeBob had no idea that Mr. Krabs was secretly the Kurgan, and teenagers who grew up watching Highlander had no idea why they suddenly craved seafood. Another beloved role of his is Lex Luthor, Superman the Animated Series and Justice League. His Lex Luthor is still considered the definitive version by a huge portion of the fanbase: cold, charming, smart, controlled, everything a perfect Luthor should be. He played Lex across multiple shows, movies and even games. Then in Star Wars, The Clone Wars, Savage Opress. Yes, that incredible voice belongs to Clancy Brown.
Yeah, looks like it.
Savage Opress is one of the standout villains in Clone Wars, and Brown brings that perfect blend of tragedy and rage. And gamers also absolutely adore this man. He's been in Crash Bandicoot as Dr. Neo Cortex in several entries, he was in Detroit Become Human, the Mass Effect series, Mortal Kombat, and dozens more games across the last 20 plus years. Basically, if you played a video game since the 90s, you probably heard Clancy Brown threaten someone, or yell motivational insults, or occasionally gently encourage android revolutions. So what is it about Clancy Brown that makes him such a universally loved character actor? Well, here's the formula. He has the size of a villain, the voice of a god, the range of a classically trained actor, and the heart of the nicest guy on set. He can play a monster, he can play a father figure, he can play a general, a demon, a superhero villain, or a cartoon crab, and he makes all of them memorable. There is a reason he had a career that spans 5 decades and he's still going strong. Clancy Brown is one of those actors whose presence instantly adds weight to any project. When he steps onto the screen, you know something interesting and usually dangerous is about to happen. He's one of the reasons so many of us love character actors in the first place, because sometimes the villain is the most fun part of the story.
How's that?
Good enough.
Thanks for watching.